Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Move Forward Anyway podcast, featuring dream accelerating inspiration. I'm Jeff Meyer, your host, author, entrepreneur, and coach. My goal with this podcast is to help you identify and clarify your own dream by taking wisdom from others' successes and challenges. If you're looking to take action on your dream, to make a difference doing something you love, but your fears are holding you back, then this podcast is for you. If you're interested in finding additional support, you can also check out my Dream Accelerator coaching program designed to help realize your full potential and reshape your future. As always, you can learn more about my Dream Accelerator program at jeffmeyer.org. Using my Dream Accelerating formula, heart-centered entrepreneurs can focus on their dream, name their fears, change their mindset, define their next, and move forward anyway. Welcome back, fellow successful dreamers, to another episode of the Move Forward Anyway podcast. We are so excited today to have Nick Curran with us from N4N, and we'll get into what N4N is in just a little bit. A dream that he has launched and successfully continued and grown through the years. And so, Nick, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your insights and your experience with our audience. And I pray that it'll be encouraging for people today as they listen in. Why don't you take a moment to just introduce yourself, Nick?
Thanks, Jeff. My name is Nick Curran. I am the CEO and founder of Numbers4Nonprofits. As the name suggests, we help nonprofits with all things numbers. Our tagline is managing money with mission, and we really live that tagline. I am a father of three. I'm a husband. I am a wannabe triathlete.
Talk about moving forward anyway, right?
We stay busy. We're a swim family, soccer family, baseball family, really always moving and moving forward. This thing started when I had a former boss of mine call me and say, "Hey, I'm on a board of a nonprofit. I can't get good financials on a timely, reliable basis. Let's see what you can maybe do and go in and help them." And, that was in 2006. And from there, it snowballed. This is a small town in some regards, and you do good work and good word spreads. And, the next thing, I'm working with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Dane County, Colonial Club, a few others. And right now we're servicing about 80 clients, primarily in Dane County, Wisconsin, a few in Milwaukee area, and then there's a few scattered throughout the country as well. We're a team of 14 as of this moment. We'll have 15 by the end of October. And then, as I was discussing with you prior to hopping on here, we should have one more before the end of the year, and then we'll be that one ahead that I'm hoping for. I think that covers it.
So that invitation to the boardroom to help that friend, how did that spark you launching a new venture here?
Yeah. So
what exactly got stirred in you in that moment?
Well, I mean, to be honest, it was just trying something new. I was all of 29 years old when I got that invitation. And to be honest with you, Jeff, it was a little bit of fake it till you make it. I knew QuickBooks, I knew nonprofits through my audit background. But, me going in and starting to act as this, supervisor, if you will, of the entire finances of an organization, that was a little bit foreign to me. But, for me, what it was is I didn't have a fear of failure, because I knew that if I did somehow stumble, I would be able to still go back and do whatever work I had been doing, which was like small business bookkeeping, taxes. Even if my business at the time failed, I knew that I could go back to an accounting firm and probably have experiences that none of my colleagues would have had running a business. All of us primarily, went to school, got our accounting degree, got our CPA, and then moved on. I was always like, you know what, I'm going to have these experiences of running an accounting firm that that will always be with me.
Hmm.
So I guess to start, it was, a lack of fear of failure. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That was sparking me. And then, as you become successful, that's a real fire, when you're feeling good about the services that you're providing others, really acting as an expert as nonprofits navigate their finances to continue the good work that they do on a regular basis. That's really what drives me. And, we've been successful at doing that. We've had bumps in the road where maybe we've stretched ourselves and, took on work maybe we shouldn't have for a variety of different reasons. We've had times where, staffing was a little bit unbalanced compared to the capacity we needed at the time. And then that led to stress, that led to, not ideal situations. But, we've continued on. I love that, just the title of your podcast, Moving Forward. We keep moving. I'm always accused of saying we're going to push through,
Yeah.
and that's a real thing. That's a real characteristic that a leader in my shoes has to have. There are definitely days where, especially through COVID, we might as well just give this a little bit of context. These last 18 months have been, can I say it, hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
They just, have really challenged a lot of people on a lot of different ways. And there have been weeks where, I've really had my own struggles with being the head of an organization while trying to help manage the expectations of 13, 14 other people. But at the end of the day, I get up, just get started. I, say, hey, I'm going to today, even though it might not be the best I'm feeling, I'm going to do the best I can today.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many days I can get through just thinking that. And, there's probably still been one or two of those days that ended up with it being a complete, completely off day. And maybe bad things have happened, but, that still leaves 363 days of, this is probably going to be okay.
Yeah. There's so much you said in that right there. I want to go back and ask, yes, or just point out, you started this venture not totally an expert in your field doing what you're doing now. You started as a willing learner who was willing to roll up your sleeves and learn some things to improve yourself, and you knew you would improve yourself. So that's where the not failure comes in, is because you can't fail when you just get more information on the table that helps improve you and your skill set. So I would just encourage you, if you're listening to this, you might have a passion or an opportunity like is presented to you that you don't know all the answers to. By the way, most entrepreneurs don't know all the answers to. We grow into it. But you are willing to step out because you're a lifelong learner. You can learn these things. You can bring people along you that can help you. And now you have launched this new venture. So don't wait until you got it all figured out, I guess is what I'm trying to say to people. You can launch your dream before you got it all figured out.
Yeah, I agree. The mistakes are just part of what everybody has to go through to get through life. If we could only think of mistakes as not just as a negative and rather as just one more part of life, I think that would make so many people, take that leap of faith and try things more. Some of us just aren't engineered that way, though. I work with a lot of accountants. Accountants, generally speaking, are very risk averse.
Yes.
So I'm a little bit of an anomaly on that front. But there are some within my team who, are those people who learn as they go, as they, make a few mistakes that, aren't detrimental to anything client-wise. I often joke that nobody's died from an accounting mistake, right? So, so why not talk with the clients, learn from the situation, hopefully we're training along the way as well, so that, they're not completely blind in the headlights, if you will. But, that learning along the way, everybody has to have it.
Yeah, I love that. we talk in the Dream Accelerator a lot about helping those dreamers that are launching their dreams to figure out who their who is. Who are the who that they're serving? You might call it a ideal client, or your client audience, the people you're attracting. And usually with a dream in an entrepreneurial venture like yours, there is a gap or there is a problem that is presented to you that you can solve, or you can solve better than someone else is solving. What's the problem that N4N solves in the marketplace?
Yeah, that's a softball, Jeff. I appreciate the easy question there. So,
Great.
What we found quickly was that nonprofits, because of tight budgets, tend to attract a lower qualified finance person. And oftentimes they were just, through no fault of their own, just not quite getting it all. And we would come in and find, what was being done wrong and offer to our clients, pricing that was probably saving them money from a full-time or a part-time bookkeeper, while also giving them a higher quality product, better information to make decisions, more timely and accurate. So it was pretty straightforward once we started seeing this need. And then you add on top of that Dane County alone is, has the most nonprofits per capita, I think, in the country, depending on what statistic you use. So the opportunity in just the area I'm living in is ripe. And then, now with technology and everybody seeing that you can do a lot of things remote through COVID, the opportunities are beyond Wisconsin and Dane County at this point. So, we've talked with people in New York and California and all across the country now as possibilities for help. So it's been easy to find opportunities for us because there is such a need to help nonprofits manage money with mission.
Now, you mentioned word of mouth a lot. We just had an episode or our coaching huddle last night for the Dream Accelerator. We were talking about engaging the market before the people are a client. You have been successful to get to your 80 nonprofits that you're serving through word of mouth. What other things have you done besides word of mouth to engage people, add value so that they could potentially become clients?
So we do a breakfast with benefits series. So, I've over time just aggregated up a lot of nonprofit emails and, found mailing lists and what have you. And so we offer that as something, as an outreach into the community. I'm a donor in the community. I think that speaks to why we do the work that we do, and in my investment in the community. Continually networking through Rotary, organizations like Downtown Madison, Greater Chamber, just getting out there and talking with people. I've also read, and believe that, if you're just out helping others get to their dreams, that will come back on you. Yeah. And I'm a firm believer in that. I'll take, it's been a little bit tough of late, taking just the quote unquote random meetings to meet people. But, as often as I can, I'm meeting with people who, want to learn more about nonprofits, want to serve nonprofits, want to be on a board of a nonprofit. I just last week had a board member that I recruited to one of my clients, and he was just like, Nick, I really actually appreciate, not every board position is they can be thankless jobs, right? But yes. This guy was saying, hey, I've really appreciated, I'm getting a lot out of this. Thank you for making the connection. So awesome. Just making those connections in the community is a way that I think N4N, spreads the word and gets our name out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, the last 18 months have been rough for all of us with COVID, and it's going to be that way for the foreseeable future. And in some respects, we're not ever going back to what was before. Can you talk a little bit about some of the specific challenges and obstacles that you have faced over the last couple of years? And even more importantly than the obstacles themselves, how did that impact you? And if you can be vulnerable and honest, I mean, it's hard.
Yeah. I would say the biggest challenge, Jeff, was being a leader. Like, leaders can sometimes feel like they're on an island. And
Yep.
so,
Yep. Can be lonely.
You're helping 13, 14 people, maybe some vendors, 80 clients as well. And those people, who's helping you, right? And
Right.
so this would be an important time to acknowledge, that I did have a pretty good support structure through it all. I mean, first and foremost, of course, my wife. Then I had a group of guys. We would meet over at a restaurant in Verona outdoors through the summer. And, there might have been a few beverages involved, but we talked about life and business and how to just kind of get through it, to push through, move forward.
Yep.
So having that, I brought on an HR consultant to help me with an area of my business that I'm probably not the strongest in, as far as managing people and checking in on them regularly and that. And she's been a godsend to our group. And I really think has put us on a path for success beyond COVID. So that's been that was a challenge for me, managing people through the pandemic. So I found a great solution. And I think, after the dust settled a little bit, the things that I hadn't gotten ahead of still had to play out, but then mark that line in the sand, maybe, the start of our 21 year here now. I feel like we've really come a long way, putting the right people on the bus, really being thorough with our vetting of employees and finding the right team members. And here we go. And I'm really optimistic about, finding that one ahead hire yet. And then going into next year, really feeling like everybody's in a good place.
Yeah. So wherever you're at in this dream pursuit, as you're listening, if you're starting up or if you're scaling up, eventually, if you pursue your dream, there's going to be management of people, and there's going to be leading the venture. There's going to be leading the organization in alignment with values and towards your vision. And that's really difficult work. And sometimes it's hard for an entrepreneur who's always thinking out ahead to be mindful of the present and caring for people. I struggle with that somewhat too, because I'm always marching ahead. I'm always probably 100 yards ahead of everybody else. And sometimes I leave people behind when I do that. So I love what Nick said. I want you to really pay attention to that. He recognized through some hardship, he recognized where he could improve, and he went and asked for help. He went and brought someone on his team in the form of a vendor, a supporter, to come in and do some HR recommendations. You need to understand, as an entrepreneur, you are not going to have all the gifts that are necessary to drive your thing forward, whatever it is. You need to ask others to help you. And there are plenty of resources to do that. So kudos to you, Nick, for being courageous enough to ask for help and to go get it. And that's one of the ways we move forward anyway. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. On top of that, I had to learn to listen a little bit better. The reason our leadership team right now is so cohesive, it wasn't always that way. I was, given some feedback that, hey, Nick, you've got to listen to us a little bit more. We're your men and women in the trenches, if you will.
Yeah.
We know what's going on. We've got the pulse of your other people. Start listening to us. And, I'm not going to say I'm 100% good at this yet, but I bet you I'm 80%, which is up.
You've seen some improvement. That's
30
good.
to 40%, pre-pandemic. And that's, something that, again, you have to be willing to be vulnerable. You have to, not try not to take it personal. I still struggle with that. That you're not, it's not a personal attack on you if somebody says, hey, Nick, can you slow down on this? Can you claw back on this? Do you realize when you're saying yes to this, you're saying no to that? Really hearing those feedbacks. And through the pandemic, we had some exits of people, and we did exit interviews with the HR consultant. There was some learning opportunities there on, being a little bit more mindful of the people, of what we're doing with clients, maybe not taking on as much as we do or did at times. So that's an important piece of advice, I guess, I can give people too, is try to listen to your people.
Yeah. And then be willing to do what it takes to improve. And there's this fine line also, isn't there, Nick, between growing and expanding the business and maintaining and caring for the current clients and also your team, right?
Definitely. I think I know I was growth focused, and we've had some tremendous, awesome growth years. I'll tell you what, I am going to be as happy as I've ever been if our 2021 is a flat year, and we have achieved all of this internal positivity,
stability,
people, stability, happier clients, and then I hope that's the base for the relaunch, if you will, of some controlled growth going forward. I just read a book, No Man's Land, and it talks about this tough time where there's 15 to 20 people, and you maybe lost your focus from when you first started out. It was just you were taking on those first clients.
Yeah.
Rich Fromater was bringing you into a church that you'd never heard of, and then you just keep saying yes. You keep saying yes. You keep saying yes, and then, oh no, I've just hit a wall. I shouldn't have said yes to these. I should have stayed in my lane. And the book just talks about a couple different things, and it was such a timely read. I actually got to digest it all. I happened to be on vacation and got this perfectly recommended book at the right time for my business.
Nice.
And again, yeah. So that, with the timing of our management team gelling together, feeling good about how we end up 2021, and then that being a launching pad for 22 with a refocus on how we do this work well.
Yeah. The book's called No Man's Land.
Yep.
And who's the author?
Doug Tatum. It's right over here, still on my desk. I'm looking.
Doug Tatum. Yeah, cool. I'll have to check that out.
It says what to do when your company's too big to be small and too small to be big.
There you go. You're right in that mix. Yep.
Yep.
Great subtitle, by the way, for you authors who are listening in. Great subtitle. Wow. So right now, you keep using this phrase. I just want to check in on that because it'll be a learning for me. You're one up higher. You're one ahead. What's the phrase you use? A one ahead?
Yeah, getting one ahead. So
be staffed for growth.
Yeah. My sense is our industry, the accounting world, we're typically hiring behind. We get the work and then we go find the people.
Yeah.
And I've been guilty of that as well over these 15 or so years now that I've been doing nonprofit accounting. And through a variety of reasons, I feel like I can get one ahead now. I've got capital that I can use. I've got lines of credit that I can manage. I'm really particular with my projecting. Now I'm getting a little wonky with my accounting world, but I know my numbers, and by getting one ahead, I know that I can afford all of that. I can afford my own take home for the life that I want to live. And that is going to create, again, all this positivity internally with people and equity, and making sure that nobody is feeling overwhelmed at any given point. And then having that flexibility internally is going to be an asset going forward. I'm convinced of it. My team is convinced of it. So that's been getting to that point. My HR consultant, she knows it as well. So it's been very well articulated internally that's where we're getting.
Great. I think that at early stages of an entrepreneurial venture too, there are times when you're hiring before you're ready. I'm experiencing that with the Dream Accelerator. I have hired some admin help before I'm ready, because I know that if I don't, I'm never going to get ahead because I'm going to be spinning my wheels doing all of the admin stuff and not doing what I'm gifted to do. And it's a little tense moment provoking for me because I feel like, oh my gosh, if this doesn't work like I think it's going to work, I'm going to lose money. I'm not going to get ahead. And what would you say to people who are in that spot? Like they're going to wait until they can, and they should probably not wait until they can.
Yeah, that one's a tough one, Jeff, because I'm somebody. Again, I'm a little bit risk averse because I'm an accountant, but I'm also a marketing major, so I'm a dreamer, or I guess on some levels.
Yeah,
I call it calculated risk. I know my numbers, and so this will be completely biased, but those entrepreneurs better have a handle on their numbers, and they better have, if it's not them, they better, as we were talking earlier, they better find that support person or people that can do that for them, to run projections, to look at, hey, if you start hiring somebody now and that's going to cost you $2,000 a week, by here you better have this much revenue coming in order to pay that back, that line of credit, that credit card, that loan from mom and dad, whatever it's going to be. You better understand all of that and how it's going to play out. But your sentiment is right on that. There's going to be these moments where you're going to have to go, oh crap, I don't feel comfortable with this financially, but I'm going to do it. But you should understand the picture, because the last thing I want people to do is dig themselves a hole that they can't get out of. Right. I would not want to recommend that. I've seen, when I was doing small business bookkeeping and taxes, I've seen people who started a business because they thought they could do better than their boss. And, at the end of the day, they would have been better off, and not disparaging anybody, but, they the proverbial flipping burgers, they could have been making 10, 12 bucks an hour and be money ahead because they were losing money in their business and they didn't know how to run that business. So, a little bit long-winded there, but I'd say, you got to be calculated with it. You got to know where you're going to go. But yes, being aware of when those situations are present is going to be something that a successful entrepreneur is going to have to embrace and decide where to go with it.
And calculated risks not only takes into account the numbers, it also, you better have a plan. I mean, you better know what you're doing to grow. You can't just do that without a plan, right, without a map forward. And of course, the plan has to be adjustable and moldable because things happen and change. And we did our last in-person Dream Accelerator a month before the pandemic hit. And that was my plan, was these in-person workshops. And all of a sudden March hit and I'm like, so does the Dream Accelerator still exist? Or does it just go away now because COVID hit? So I had to totally reshape how I deliver the product, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Because we can't be in person for probably a year and a half, maybe 2, maybe 3 years. So now what? So you have a plan, but you've also got to be able to adjust to the climate that's in front of you too. So
absolutely,
that's awesome input. I want to change lanes just a bit here, because I know your passion to want to be a triathlete, and that you've already gone on that road and you've already had some experiences in biking and running and swimming and all that. And that's been a really interesting journey for you. I want you to connect the two. I want you to connect for me your passion to do that and how you've gone after that, and the N4N dream becoming a reality. What have you learned? It could go either way. So what have you learned from going after the triathlete thing that has helped you in business? And what have you learned from the business venture that has helped you with the triathlete journey?
Oh my gosh. I feel like my head's swirling with so many possibilities. So we'll just give it a go here. All right. So I think it's important to talk about the history of why I started doing triathlons, which was that I had 2 small heart attacks about 4 years ago now. And, I do have to say that as an entrepreneur, we all need to take care of ourselves. And I obviously wasn't doing that on some level, right? Yeah. So important to recognize, to emphasize to people that, you got to take care of everything, that tripod or whatever stool you want to sit on. If you don't have your physical, your spiritual, your mental all in order, that tripod's going to fall over, and mine did.
Yeah.
So 6 months of cardiac rehab, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm going to try a triathlon. And most people said, well, why don't you try a sprint distance? Well, I went wrongly or rightly to an Olympic distance, which was a little longer.
You just went for the whole ball of wax.
Yeah. I wasn't a strong swimmer. So back to the whole, earlier, you just got to get going and try and learn. I probably side stroked more than half of my first swim in the triathlon. And then thereafter I took some classes, if you will, or had some morning swim classes with a coaching place in town. The biking was pretty, I felt like I was going to be okay there. And then running is just, getting the distance in, right? Doing the training. So blocking time for that stuff, that's important. That's what got me to be able to do the things that I did as a triathlete. So, I literally schedule my, swim classes. If I'm training for a marathon, I literally put those 4 or 5 days a week, 4 hours at a time, sometimes of, the 20-mile runs that you have to do on weekends, block those off, communicate that with your significant other, get them on the same page, because that's important too. So I guess the tie-in there is like, if something is important to you, if you're really shooting toward a goal, you've really got to set aside specific time in order to achieve that. I would actually say, like right now, I probably have to do a little bit better job of blocking out time to run my business. I'm a little bit heavy client focused right now, as through the 18 months, the turmoil that we've kind of alluded to, in getting people getting the right people on the bus. So I'm a little bit client heavy right now, and I'm working in my business and not at my business. So something to be conscious of there. And I've read books and been on, had seminars where they say you've got to block that time for yourself, and think about your business, think about how you're running it, not just doing the work that needs to be done for your clients.
Yeah.
So hope that gave some tie in between the two.
Yeah, I was taking some notes. I blocking time, and you talked about how important health is, and relational health and family health and all of that. And what I find with a lot of the people I'm working with is we kind of assume that we're going to have that time. And I keep encouraging them, no, you need to schedule the time. You need to block the time with your date night with your wife. You need to block the time with your children's activities and just being present at night with them. You need to block time to work on your business, not just in your business or at your business. And then the other thing you said was family support. You can't pursue these things without being in alignment with, if you're married, with your spouse or your kids. And what's even greater is when you can find ways to include them in your venture, right? Mm-hmm. How can they participate with you? Now you're a swim family, and so you're enjoying swimming together, right? And right. Your wife is part of the team for N4N.
Yes. Yep.
The other thing I think of when I see your posts on running, and frequently you post, and I don't want to be that guy that's always bragging about how far I ran or whatever, but yours always are, it was a hard day. I sludged through it, but I did it. Those posts really, that's not all you post, but those ones really resonate with me, because it's showing me that the other lesson to be learned is it takes discipline.
Yeah. I'm not ever posting on Facebook to be braggy. I've actually heard from too many people that when I do post, it's actually inspiring for them. So that's what drives me to post when I do run. And I have to be real, because, like right now, this week, for instance, I'm not running. My back I fell off my bike 2 months ago. It's been a painful road back. I'm getting pain management this week, and I hope to be back running pretty regularly here by middle October, late October. I'm swimming instead. I'm doing less impact sort of things I'm stretching, I'm doing things to get back to where I want to be. But it's hard to take that pounding on your body day in, day out. And so you need to be mindful of a couple things. I get, being trim, number one. I've been running and biking at a little heavier weight this year than I have in the past. So that's, I think, taking a toll on my body. So I guess the correlation there to business is, keep things lean and trim.
Yeah, that's right. That's good.
On your business.
I feel a book coming on here, brother.
Oh gosh, I don't feel the same, Jeff.
Okay, very good.
Yes. I'm just repeating things that all of us have already heard, right? That's just, and we need that. We need that repetition. We need to hear from people. And that's why I'm trying to be real when I do that kind of posting, because I am certainly not perfect. I am absolutely faulty in a lot of things. And yet, here I am, relatively successful business owner, somewhat of a triathlete. I still got one big goal that I think will qualify me as an official triathlete. I just want to keep it real and let people know that it takes all kinds to get a business up and running. It takes you're going to have different days every day. And you just have to keep moving forward.
And keep in mind your who. I think of you. I'm sure there are days when you're tempted to want to quit. You're like, what? This is too hard. That you think of, or somebody reminds you of one of the 80 clients and how you help them do their mission. And you've been a part of that team to make that mission happen. And because of that, the world's a better place, because that organization is functioning in a more healthy way, and with more competence around the finances, better stewardship, gaining more trust with their people that they're helping because they're managing stuff better. So you're helping people, and that's the power that keeps me going, is thinking about the people I help. So I'm sure you have these success stories littering your landscape that you help your team remember. Okay, it's really hard right now, but remember, this is why we do this. This is who we're helping.
No, I think it's a good reminder, Jeff. I was expecting to take something away from you today too, and I think that's it. I think I have to continually remember who the who is. It's the client work that we do. It's my team. It's my family that I support through the work that I do. It's my network around me in this community. I'm very fortunate. The web around me has been supportive from day one. And when there are those tough days, and there have been tough days, I do go and find, that neighbor that I want to talk to, just to catch up and talk, maybe not talk shop, just talk about life. How are they doing? How are they feeling? Mental health has been a huge topic through this pandemic, and we should acknowledge that. Never was I going to do anything drastic, but this was one of the hardest times of my life. And I was very fortunate to have people who I could stop and talk to about what was going on, whether it was other business colleagues or neighbors and friends or family.
That's awesome. So to our listeners today, I want to give Nick an opportunity to speak directly to you. You're sitting out here listening to this episode, and you've got a dream. You got something that is sparked in your heart that you want to do to better the world. And you're providing a solution where there's a gap or a problem that needs to be solved. And you've got an answer that you think you can provide. What do you want to say to them, Nick, to coach them?
This sounds so heavy, Jeff. We've talked a lot. We've said most everything. And I think I want to reiterate what we've already talked about.
Yeah.
For me as an accountant, I guess I'm going to always talk about being prepared, knowing your numbers. Spend some time with that. If that's not your expertise, if you're a marketer, if you're a dreamer and you don't want to think about numbers, make sure you have that support structure in place behind you. I don't want anybody to dig a hole while they're going after their dream. That's a little bit of the practical side of me that I just don't want us to lose track of. I've seen too many people, too many stories where that dream just consumes and fails in not in any good way. Let's talk about the good things that might go wrong, that might come up, the mistakes. Embrace those mistakes, learn from those mistakes. For me, it was, knowing that I needed somebody to help with people management, knowing that I needed to listen to my team better, and moving forward from there.
That's awesome.
Take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. Yeah.
You're going to need to, physically, whatever it is, if it's yoga, if it's swimming, if it's stretching, if it's, rec sports, whatever it might be, find some time for yourself to stay fit, eat right, get your sleep. This all sounds very cliche, and I'm also still guilty of failing on these fronts as well. But, the better you can get that into your routine, everything's going to flow better. Everything's going to flow better.
Yeah. Don't destroy your life in pursuit of your dream. That's not helpful.
Nope.
Because your dream needs you and the world needs you, not just your dream. So don't kill yourself in the process. Too many people need you. So that's really good encouragement. Brother, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate the time you blocked out there today to talk with me and bless others on your journey. In closing, how can people find out more about N4N and the great work you're doing in our community and beyond?
Sure. So our website is Numbers4Nonprofits. You've got to spell out numbers, the number 4 nonprofits, plural.com. You can see our team, our clients, our testimonials, the services we provide. We're on social media. I'm on LinkedIn. So Instagram, awesome. Facebook, that sort of thing. You can give me my numbers on the website, so you can give me a call and schedule time to sit down with me and talk with me. I would love to hear, your story and how we might be able to help. That's how you can find me.
That's awesome. And before we jump off, I would just say, I hope your back gets healed up so you can go do the thing you love to do. I know how important that is to you and your health. Rich blessings to your entire family and your household. As a key member of our community, I want you to be healthy and your household to thrive. So that's my prayer for you, brother. And I thank you for the time today very much.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate being invited. And to all the listeners out there, thanks for hearing my story.
You bet. Hey, fellow dreamer. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Head over to my website, jeffmeyer.org, for all of the show notes and links. And when you're ready to move from overthinking about your dream to actually taking action on it, consider joining the Dream Accelerator community. Our clients are getting crystal clear on their dream with our Dream Generator Vivid Description 5-step process. They're discovering the truth about fear and how to use it as fuel to take courageous steps in the right direction. And most importantly, they are walking a clear path forward because they have made an investment in themselves to confidently realize their dreams. The results are so inspiring. Having coaching and companions on the dream journey is crucial. Remember, fear will come, fear will stay. Move forward anyway.